Alrighty then, first off the bat, I just want to say, none of the stages in this game suck. Throughout my replay of Sonic Adventure 1, every single stage had something new to offer, and kept me engaged throughout the entire course of the level. I say this because I want you to know, if you don't see your favorites in the top 5 or top 3 spot, it is not because it's a bad level. It's just because all of the stages in Sonic Adventure are simply incredible and a masterpiece in 3D level design. Second criteria for this list is that I will be ranking the levels based off of their level design, art and aesthetics, music, and overall vibe that each stage gives to the player. So are we good on that? Good? Good. Let's begin then. Alright, for number 10 we have a pretty obvious pick in my opinion, and that is Lost World. Not to say that the stage is bad by any means, but it is definitely the least fun and engaging than the other stages in the game. I feel like the reason for this is simply because of the fact that this stage is far more serious and atmospheric than any of the other stages in the game. Don't get me wrong, all the other stages also have their own atmospheres and environments to engross the player with, but I feel like with Lost World, it takes its theme so much more darker and seriously, which leads to it standing out a lot in my opinion. The things I do like about this stage, however, are the cool anti-gravity sections in this giant room, the really cool rocky snake that you have to platform off of in order to not drown, and of course that iconic Indiana Jones boulder chasing you down, which could be seen as foreshadowing to another iconic chase sequence in Sonic games. Either way though, this zone is pretty dark and drab for a Sonic level, and as such, it kinda drains all of the fun and whimsy out of the game's aesthetic, which is fine since it was obviously going for that, as this stage is supposed to be a dark low point in the story, with it prophesying chaos literally killing off all the Echidna. So yeah, not a bad stage at all, it just so happens that all the other ones in this game are so god tier. Up next, we have Casinoopolis, the token force casino level that is required for every single Sonic game. Yippee! Okay, but in all seriousness, it's not that bad here. I will say though, this stage is the most weirdest one in Sonic Adventure, and could be arguably lower than Lost World, if it wasn't for that sweet sewer section that happens whenever you fail one of the pinball games. Just the idea of this giant opulent playhouse being right above a dilapidated, decrepit old sewage system is genuinely creative to me. Top that off with the fact that this stage has three separate tracks depending on where you are. I forgot to mention that each of the stages of Sonic Adventure has an Act 1 and Act 2 respectively that changes up the vibe dramatically from the first parts of the stage. But Casinoopolis is one of 2 stages in the game that actually opted for more than one track for the level. One for the little lobby area that Sonic travels through, one for the sewage places, and one for when you're actually playing pinball. Top that off with the fact that there are such cute little Knights references, some genuinely nice attention to detail, with the shower room being right above the sewage system, and the cool gimmick of this level being that you have to collect enough rings in order to get to this Chaos Emerald. It's actually crazy to me how creative Sega was for their first 3D outing. There's truly no other 3D platformer that has stages like this, and for that, I definitely commend Sonic Adventure 1 for being more bold, creative, and overall innovative with its level design. And the crazy part is, it only gets better from here. Windy Valley, almost the face of Sonic Adventure if it wasn't for another iconic beginning stage. This stage, to me, is still good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there was so much missed potential when you actually see what the beta design for this level is and you realize how open and so much brighter it actually was. It pains me to know the reason why they decided to scrap this design and go with a far more linear, kind of boring aesthetic for the level. Don't get me wrong, still unique and engaging, but the level is just so damn short, man. I mean, you start off on this cliffside, homing attack a few of these shuttles, and then bam, you're already inside the tornado trying to acrobat your way up to the top, and then already you're sliding down the entire windscape. It's like, bro, give me a breather sometime, man. And it's not like they did that for difficulty reasons either. Emerald Coast has far more difficult sections than anything in this stage, and most of the time it's pretty automated all things considered. Again, the music and aesthetic goes really hard for this level, especially with that revamped music from Sonic 3D Blast in Act 2. And while Sonic running down these turbines and twisting past may be an iconic set piece for some, to me, it's just really hard to control at times and makes the game feel more clunky than it actually is. I swear guys, I do like this level. It's just, over the years I've had a few more critiques about it than positive things to say. Although it's definitely iconic, and I can see why so many people love it to this day, I will definitely say you can feel some of the experimentation that this level has to offer, and for that I commend it. On to Ice Cap, the most revamped level for Sonic Adventure. To me, this level has 3 distinctive acts that I find joy in. The really cool outside of the mountain segment where you have to find your way inside the cavern up this really slippery hill. The actual inside of the limestone cave, which is very calming and surreal, with nice sound effects to accentuate the alien nature of this stage, almost like you're not supposed to be here. But of course, I know why everyone likes this stage, and it's because of that iconic set piece at the end, where you snowboard down the avalanching mountain. As Jun Sonoi's iconic "Be Cool, Be Wild, Be Groovy" absolutely shreds in the background. You see, it's stuff like this that makes you love the Sonic IP so damn much. Its willingness to just be as extra and as cool as it can possibly be, pushing its hardware to its limits, is just something I have to admire. I mean, you have the song timed perfectly with the cutscene where Sonic steps in the snowboard. How crazy is that they were doing stuff like this in the 90s, bro? Musical cues for video games weren't even utilized in the industry that much yet. And the snowboarding segment itself is so full of high-octane action that you just can't help but have a smile on your face the entire time. From Eggman ships trying to carpet bomb you from above, to the well-timed trick ramps providing some excellent spectacle, you're sure to have a memorable wild ride as you finish Ice Cap Zone with such a thrilling gameplay sequence that absolutely blows the original out of the park. And again, we're still only at number 7. How did they hit so hard with this game, man? It just doesn't make any sense. Let that iconic guitar riff stroll into the frame as we talk about one of the most iconic beginning levels out of any platformer, Emerald Coast. Now, I know what y'all might be thinking. Isn't this the best level of all time in the game? Sadly and surprisingly, it's somehow not. There are 5 other levels in the game that somehow surpass this one's greatness. But can we just talk about how great it is? I mean, you have the chill beach vibe with this nice mellow guitar riff playing in the background. The player gets introduced to these beautiful blue pastels as they travel along the beachside and destroying easy-to-hit enemies. The level design is linear and straightforward, but still allows the player to explore at their own whims, deciding to go and collect rings if they want to, and even rewarding the more observant players for their curiosity. Then of course, there's that iconic Orca sequence where Sonic has to run away from a giant whale. That's not something you see every day. And then you just travel on this beautiful coastal island when you get to the Act 2 of the stage. You're greeted to this nice, even more mellow tune as you jog along the jungle side. This time the designer's making the terrain a little bit harder to navigate should the player want to get on the higher pathways, which are slightly faster than the lower path. Doesn't that sound familiar? The level also ends with this beautiful linear pathway where orcas and dolphins will jump into the sky to elevate your success, beating the first level of the game. I'm just saying, man, they don't make it how they used to. If you compare this first level to any of the newer Sonic games' first level, it just blows it out of the park in terms of quality and presentation, man. Sometimes I just want to go back and see the reactions on kids' face in the 90s when they got introduced to this kind of stuff, because my mind is blown to this day. It's just a high quality stage that is an excellent tutorial level for any newcomers of Sonic the Hedgehog. Hell, it's one of the best beginning stages in any platformer in my opinion. But alas, we must move on. Alright, we're now at the top 5. These are the stages that I consider some of the best 3D stages in all of Sonic in my opinion. And for the first one I'm presenting, we have Twinkle Park, the 5th stage in the game, Althematic. First of all, that bumper car section is an absolute banger. Completely creative and original for the time. Can't believe they put a whole racing-ass gimmick inside of the first 3D Sonic game. Are you kidding me? No other game franchise would think of doing this much work for just one gimmick, man. Okay, I'll stop glazing. But the rest of the level is also amazing, with the roller coaster section introducing you to Act 2, and you just have so much fun stuff to do in this. It feels like an actual amusement park. From the bowling ball section where you have to hit these pins in one single shot, to this merry-go-round. The overall terrain of this level is also interesting to engage with. I love the fact that there's never one single stretch of land. There's always some gimmick or some obstacle in your way, and you have to be paying attention and be attentive. It subtly ups the ante of this level and makes the player realize that they're approaching the more harder levels of the game without being too in your face. And of course, we have the final obstacle of the level, the giant pleasure castle that the player is supposed to traverse upward towards. A nice skill check for players if they know how to do the spin dash jump correctly, because you can skip a major portion of this level with the well-timed jump. And all of this, mind you, is being done back to one of the most optimistic tunes I've heard in a Sonic level. Truly a generational level in my opinion. So fun and engaging, like a real amusement park should be. Alright, time for possibly the most controversial pick on this list. For number 4, we have Final Egg, the final stage in the entire game. And man, I just gotta say, the theme Mechanical Resonance absolutely carries this stage hard. It definitely gives it the vibe of, oh shit, you're in the final act now, with those guitar riffs and electric piano keys absolutely shredding it as Sonic traverses through this nightmare. It's also a level that has pretty fair difficulty, all things considered. Definitely a lot more easier than Lost World. This is a final level that's more subtle and less in your face. It feels more like a chill encampment that Eggman just likes to hang around at night, and Sonic just happened to stumble upon it and disturb the peace. I like how all the robots in this place don't even look that intimidating. They're basically just your standard security or even cleaning bots. It's only halfway throughout the level where things start to get serious and maniacal, as the tunes start to ramp up in intensity. You have the hardest part of the level, this giant egg room, where you have the platform with these hammers trying to swing you in the background. This iconic tunnel section where you're just running more and more downward into madness, until eventually you get into this weird spider elevator contraption, and everything goes back to normal. Almost as if you passed the worst of it, and this is the calm after the storm. I'm telling you man, this stage is truly something special. There's nothing quite like it in my opinion. I like this room of infinitely spawning enemies that you can just play with by lightspeed attacking them constantly. I like the cool Sonic Tails and Knuckles dolls reference that definitely wasn't a creepypasta at this point in the series. Overall, I feel like Final Egg is the most unique and experimental level out of any other Sonic game. I mean, come on, it's a final level without lava in it? That's just crazy. But yeah, nothing more to say there. Definitely a banger of a stage. On to Peak Mountain, and I just gotta say guys, I have a whole video praising why this is the most underrated stage in the game. To summarize that video, because I really want you to go watch it, this stage has amazing open level design and 2 tracks that are absolutely brilliantly composed to sell its aesthetic. The rocket gimmick is used more purposefully in this level, and the underground section is just breathtaking, with its hard rock and hellish atmosphere being turned up to the utmost by the developers. Simply put, in my opinion, this feels like the most creative stage in the game, and applies the Sonic mythos of game design into the 3D era perfectly. And miraculously, there are somehow 2 other stages that surpass it in quality. But yeah, be sure to check out my video here for more praise of this level. It is absolutely an underrated gem. By far the most intense and badass level of the game, we have Sky Deck. Now, in my opinion, this stage does take a lot from Flying Battery Zone, but hell if it doesn't run with that concept and absolutely perfect it in this genius of a level. It is at this point in the franchise where Sonic is like, yeah, we're gonna go for spectacle unlike those other platforming games. I mean, you have a level where you're traveling along a flying ship that's in a thunderstorm, firing laser cannons at you. I mean, how is this not awesome as a kid? And of course you have Jin Sanoi's peak score in the background, trying to accentuate that feeling to its absolute peak. I love the section where you're traveling along the deck, trying to dodge these aircraft carriers firing at you, and you have to systematically destroy every single cannon that's firing at you. The lead up to this stage is absolutely brilliant as well. Sonic and Tails are once again thrust into the atmosphere and forced to fight the egg carrier one final time. But this time, Tails has made some major modifications to the Tornado X that actually allows them to defeat the cannon and come along board. That concept is cool in and of itself, but it's not until we get to the interior of the stage where things start to get really cool. The music takes a far more chaotic and frenetic nature to it, increasing the intensity of the level and making it feel more like a scramble towards the center. It's all really engaging, man. You have the rotating ship that genuinely changes the physics and makes it harder to traverse up the carrier, making the player physically feel what Sonic feels in this moment. Top that off with the fact that this just feels like an epic spy mission, like you're not supposed to be here, and Eggman's trying everything in his power to stop your traversal. It just screams epicness. And that final set piece at the end where you have to use the ladders to climb up a rotating ship, only to finally race down the runway and get into this air pocket that you're finally safe at, is truly a satisfying level design and a fantastic end to such a creative, bold, and innovative level. Definitely deserving of the number 2 spot in Sonic Adventure, and by far one of the most memorable stages in Sonic's history. But of course, if you've been paying attention, there's one stage that hasn't been mentioned yet. The one stage in this game that by far is the most iconic than all of the rest. The one stage that was brought back in Sonic Generations, and that of course is Speed Highway, my number 1 pick as the best stage in Sonic Adventure. I mean, how could I not go with this iconic masterpiece? First of all, you have the epic spectacle as Sonic is literally traveling through a night cityscape and running up the walls of skyscrapers. It doesn't get more crazier than that. The music is absolutely fast-paced and frenetic as you have the police officers chasing you from building to building, and you hop from skyline to skyline. These twisting and turning roads that make Sonic's speed on the Dreamcast even more prevalent than it was before. If anything, this stage really showcases just how fast Sonic can really go in this game, and nothing is more derivative of this than this absolutely iconic skyscraper chase sequence, where the police bots chase Sonic as he runs down the side of this gigantic building. It ends with you crashing through this building and all the robots being destroyed around you. So if that didn't seem crazy and epic enough, you get introduced to After Dawn, this beautiful sunset cityscape where Sonic just gets to chill out and walk around the city, destroy robots, collect rings, interact with the cars that can't hit you, and overall, it's just like its own little hub area within a Sonic level. Now, I know other stages in this game have done this before, but After Dawn just seems truly special in that regard. The music is absolutely nostalgic and heartwarming, and the vibe of the level for the first time just feels chill. There's no rush, no anticipation, no fever. You've gotten through that part of the stage already, and now it's just time to enjoy your reward. The player is treated to this calm residential area that shows us just how gorgeous this game can be at times, and I truly commend Sega for doing this bold decision in such a fast-paced level. To have all this spectacle and speed slow down until this final area is truly masterful level design in my opinion, and as such, it is the reason as to why I think Speed Highway stood out to most people as a kid. There's truly no other stage in the game that has this level of contrast and creativity to it. It, to me, perfectly defines Sonic Adventure as a 3D platformer that not only integrates the iconic IP of Sonic into the third dimension, but also carries over his mythos, his character, and his overall aesthetic for new players and old players to enjoy alike. And as such, it is by far the best level in Sonic Adventure 1. Thank you all for watching this far into the video. I had a lot of fun discussing these iconic levels with y'all, and please tell me what your favorites are in the comments below, as it really helps this video, and I'm sure I had some pretty hot takes to some of y'all. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time on the Plexiteer channel. Peace.